Should I buy the Canon M50 or another camera in the same price range? It's a question I get a lot, and in the last few weeks, last few months, my response always was, maybe wait for the Canon M50 Mark II. I was super excited for that camera. Turns out it's a big disappointment. Why am I even making this video? I shouldn't, I really shouldn't. Maybe I'll upload it and then take it down again after 24 hours, just to make a point. I'll lose $3 in ad revenue, so I'll have to talk to my accountant, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, just to... Canon? Anyway, so it seems like Canon had a pile of great features laying around on the floor of their R&D department. 8K, 4K 120, 4K no crop in all modes, 4K with great autofocus, IBIS, you know, all the good stuff. And then they were like, what are we gonna do with all these great features? Some guy probably came in and said, just put everything in the Canon R5. But what about the Canon M50 Mark II? Oh, same camera, just put Mark II on it. People will buy it anyway. It's the same camera, guys. It's exactly the same camera. Oh no, wait, you can shoot vertical video now for tic-tic, tuk-tuk, tok-tak? I don't know, something like that. Something the kids use these days. But yeah, I'm sorry to all of you whom I told to wait for the Canon M50 because it wasn't worth it at all. And look, I don't expect it to be a totally different camera, but when you go from the original to the Mark II, then there should be some significant upgrades, right? So let's start with photography, and if you already have the M50, then just write Mark II on it and done. No need to spend money on the real Mark II because there's no significant difference. Same amount of megapixels, and actually that's a good thing because I think, what is it, 24? That's the perfect amount of megapixels. You don't need more. Most people don't need more. So that's fine, but that's about it for photography. They say the eye detection autofocus is a little bit faster. Okay, but I didn't have any problems with the autofocus on the original M50. And then there's also a slightly larger buffer. That's it. So if you have the original M50 and photography's your game, definitely don't upgrade to the Mark II. There's no point. And for you who do want to upgrade, just wait to see what else Canon brings to the table for the M series, or go for another brand. There's plenty of good cameras out there. The original M50 is still a great camera for photography, and the autofocus, it's fine. Okay, next is video, and again, there's nothing new. 4K at 24 frames per second, 1080 up to 60 frames per second, and 720 at 120 frames per second. And you still get the same lousy autofocus when shooting 4K. Actually, there is a difference here, because the crop, the 4K crop, went from 1.6 to 1.5. Wow. So are there no real upgrades then? Well, apparently there are. There are new features for live streaming and vlogging. So yeah, I get it. A lot of people do live stream and vlog. So for those people, great. But I can live stream with my original M50 too, and with the R5. And pretty much any other camera these days, right? And what else do we have? Well, I read this on the internet somewhere. A little bit strange. So, make interviewing and vlogging easier with features such as the ability to just tap the screen to autofocus on a subject while you're looking through the electronic viewfinder. So, wait a minute. I have to look through the viewfinder and then tap the screen to focus on an object? Seems weird to me, right? Maybe the phrasing is a little bit off here, or maybe I just don't understand what they mean. And what seems to be the feature of the Mark II is shooting vertical video. Vertical video. Wow. Look at that. Vertical video with the original M50. Isn't every camera capable of shooting vertical video? I don't even know why you'd want that, honestly. If you want vertical video, then shoot with your phone. But okay, that's just me maybe. I'm not a vlogger or tuk-tucker, you know? So what does this all mean? Well, the Canon M50 Mark II is a great camera because it's the same camera as the original one. Again, I don't ask for a revolutionary new design, but if you go from original to Mark II, there should be some cool upgrades, right? We're slowly transitioning to 4K. 1080 is still good for a lot of people, but slowly 4K is more and more becoming the standard. So I expected the Mark II to at least have 4K, no crop with good autofocus. And maybe even 1080 at 120 frames per second. That's it. Then it would have been a brilliant Mark II. Didn't we even have 720 at 120 frames per second in 2010 already? I really don't get it. It seems like Canon is being weird. Their marketing department is weird. Vertical video as a selling point feature? That's weird. Tuk-tuckers are weird. So, summary. What we have basically is an original M50 with better software. That's about it. Okay, great. What if you want to buy one? What if you want to upgrade? Well, if you have the original M50, then definitely don't go for the Mark II because it's pointless. If you don't have the original M50, then also don't go for the Mark II because I think now in 2020 you should at least get 4K no crop with good autofocus. That's something that should be standard today. Unless you want to use it for photography only, of course. Now look, take my advice with a grain of salt because not everyone needs 4K or 1080 at 120 frames per second. It just depends on what your intentions are with the camera. If it's just for travel videos or family videos, you don't need 4K. Even to learn about filmmaking, you don't need 4K. You can make great videos in 1080. I also shoot a lot of my videos still in 1080. So the original M50 is still a great camera that will allow you to learn everything you need to know about filmmaking. Don't worry about that. Something you need to decide for yourself these days is if you need 4K or not. So bottom line is, the original M50 is still a great camera. For most of you, no need to upgrade. The Mark II is also a great camera, but it's not an upgrade, and definitely not a 2-year upgrade in 2020. It really missed the mark, too. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.